I think the fort should be saved because our history and you can remember the people who made and lived in the fort.
Thank you for keeping Fort Massachusetts. I want it to stay there forever to tell people about our history.
I think that you should keep the Fort Mass land because it is an important part of our history. Without it, younger people will not be able to see our history, so please keep this important part of our history.
I don't think you should tear down our chimney because it is part of history. If you tear it down, think about all of the history you're destroying. Think of all of the little kids that won't be able to see it. Eventually, no one will remember it. However, if it is still there, people might remember it. That's why I don't think you should destroy it.
You should not tear down the replica chimney because it is part of our history, and without it, children won't get to learn about it. If you tear it down, think about all of the history you are destroying. One day, people will forget about it, and when someone asks you about it, you won't be able to answer it. Just please don't tear it down. Remember that.
You should not get rid of the replica chimney because it was part of our history and lots of people get knowledge from it. Fort Massachusetts was where the Price Chopper parking lot is, and it is important.
I don't want you to get rid of the chimney because I don't want to get rid of our history. Please don't get rid of our history.
You should keep it up because I'm interested in the history and I want it to stay up so when I get older, I want to study it, not tear it down. I need to learn more about it than anyone else did. And it's a part of everybody's history in Fort Mass.
Okay, just a quick overview. This is the North Adams Historical Society Museum of History and Science in the yellow building. Hold it up. For every window there used to be a door so they could back the vehicles in. And the big beams around the top, they used to run stringers from wall to wall so that the coal wouldn't push the walls out. So the second group will go second floor with Mr. Cahoon.
By talking about the site of Fort Massachusetts, which is a photograph over here. After this, we're going to go to the site and we're going to explain more about it. And I just want to just start here with the photo. This is the replica fort. What did I tell you a replica fort was? Yes?
A copy of it.
A copy of it. They couldn't have the real fort because after the attack in 1746, it was destroyed and burned. It was rebuilt in 1747 on the same meadow, but the importance of this site today is we know this is a copy. We know the chimney is a copy, but that land, this is where they fought. This is where they stood. This is real, okay? But before you move on from me, I'd like you to listen to Ten Crow, and he can explain a couple of things about what he's wearing.
By this time period, the natives became dependent upon the musket. They no longer used bow and arrow. As a warrior, they were prepared to have the powder horn shot measuring tube, the round ball being here, and the hand, and the war club, little pickaxes, throwing at. I have a couch, the skunk. I use his spirit to be a better warrior. They would have made their own moccasins. They had leggings, a breechcloth, carry silvers, like my emergency money, brown shirt. This is what the English and the Francais would wear. This is the leftover from armor the officers wore. He had a nice jacket. He didn't need this anymore. Do you have questions? Yes.
Parade ground is located, see that over there, that yellow stake? That is the center of the original fort that was destroyed in 1746. The parade ground was the open area where the soldiers would come out of the barracks behind the wall. Insufficient funds forced its closure. In 1960, a supermarket known as Central Market, today known as Price Chopper, was built upon the site of Fort Massachusetts. In 1973, the fort replica was demolished. The only thing left standing was this replica chimney, which today marks the site of Fort Massachusetts. That's why that is important. It tells all of us where this land is located. The original Fort Massachusetts at the second fort that was built in 1747. This is where it stood. In 1797, the Daughters of the American Revolution placed this commemorative stone here. Defenders of Fort Massachusetts. The plaque attached to the commemorative stone reads as follows: Fort Massachusetts, with gratitude to the defenders of the fort to perpetuate the memory of the scene of their struggle in the wilderness. The Daughters of the American Revolution placed the stone here, marking the spot during the bicentennial year of our country in 1976. So this is a very, very important historical site. We are now working, we have a group formed, we are working with Price Chopper, the owners, in negotiations, and hopefully we can have this returned back to our community. Any questions?
I had a dream that we can go in there. Yeah. Move it.
Property, and we have Native American Abenaki warrior statue carved so that we could place it there to let the public and the community understand this ledge is very important. It is part of the history of Fort Massachusetts.
In other news, we have been getting reports of strange events over at the Art Museum. Our Sally Boo has more on that story.
Save our fort! Save our fort! Save our fort! Save our fort! Save our fort!
I think that you should keep the Fort Mass land because it is an important part of our history. Without it, younger people will not be able to see our history, so please keep this important part of our history.
You should keep it up because I'm interested in the history and I want it to stay up so when I get older, I want to study it, not tear it down. I need to learn more about it than anyone else did. And it's a part of everybody's history in Fort Mass.